going on, everybody? I'm here to give you my predictions for the co-main event and main event for the next UFC fight, which goes down this Saturday in Brazil. Let's start with the welterweight bout between Gabriel Bonfim and Nicolas Dalby, which has the potential to be an absolute barn burner. Now, if you're going based off the Vegas odds, this is supposed to be one-way traffic for Bonfim, as the last time I checked, he was a 7-1 betting favorite. And it makes sense because he's 2-0 in the UFC now, big prospect, there's superstar potential. His brother's also doing amazing in the UFC. Now he's in front of his hometown crowd, but this fight could be a little bit trickier, or I should say more complex, than what the betting odds are presenting. Now, Bonfim has looked phenomenal. He hasn't faced top-tier talent yet, but he's gotten some really impressive finishes, both of them in the first round. And now he's taking on a Nicolas Dalby who has never been finished in 27 professional fights. Now here's my problem with Bonfim, and it's the same thing I say every single time we get one of these prospects who looks like he can be a future world champion. Now, Bonfim, what we haven't seen is him truly get tested. Now, whether that be physically or mentally, getting tired in the later rounds, or just, having that shiny 15-0 or 16-0 professional MMA record, whatever he has. What happens if it goes past the first round? What happens if the third round is there, he's now tired, and Dalby's landing shots? Well, that could be something we find out on Saturday. As I previously mentioned, Dalby has never been finished in 27 professional fights. Now, Dalby's had his ups and downs in the UFC, he's parted ways with the promotion, went back to Cage Warriors. Now he's back riding a 3-fight win streak, and I gotta be honest, it's a 3-fight win streak that looks a lot better on paper than if you actually go and watch his fights, but we know that he can be very durable, we know that he's very aggressive on the feet, and we know that he's willing to come forward and put pressure on any of his opponents, which could be a problem for Bonfim. So how do I see this fight playing out? Well, I think it's going to be pretty similar to what we just saw with Khamzat Chimaev versus Kamaru Usman. I think this first round is going to be all Bonfim, maybe even a 10-8, depending on how it plays out. But if Dalby can survive that first round, and I don't know if he can, then we could see a much different fight in the second round, and especially in the third round. As like I said, having that shiny undefeated record with a bunch of first-round finishes is exciting. It gets the fans interested. But what happens when you don't get them out of there in the first round? So that's really what this fight's going to come down to. Like I said, the first round, I think Bonfim's going to land a bunch of massive shots, get a takedown, maybe even a couple deep submission attempts, and he might get the first round finish. But if he doesn't, then the second round is really where things...
It's time!
Now let's talk about the main event. We all know that there's no doubt Derrick Lewis's last performance was absolutely electric. The 33-second knockout win against Marcos Rogerio de Lima. It ended his 3-fight losing streak and also got him a new UFC contract, pretty much solidifying that he'll be with the UFC for the rest of his career. Well, now he's stepping up on somewhat of a short notice to take on Jailton Almeida, who was supposed to fight Curtis Blades. But the reality is that although we've now fallen back in love with Derrick Lewis and how unpredictable he can be, before that 3-fight losing streak showed that he's going to continue to most likely struggle against these top-tier opponents, which me and most people believe Jailton Almeida is. The question is, how is Jailton Almeida going to step up? Going to perform with the step up in competition? He's 5-0 or 6-0 right now between the light heavyweight and heavyweight division in the UFC. He's finishing everybody, and he's showing fundamental skills that look to be world class. I mean, just his grappling and submission skills alone could lead to him becoming a UFC heavyweight champion, but he's yet to fight a top tier opponent like Derrick Lewis. And I respect Jairzinho Rozenstruik, but everyone and their mother knew how that fight was going to end, so I don't really see that as that statement win that Rozenstruik has been looking for. Now, at the same time, I don't necessarily know if he will get that against Derrick Lewis. It'll be a really nice name on the resume, but in theory, if he goes out there, he gets him to the ground, and he submits him, well, we could have those same questions as we did with Jairzinho Rozenstruik. But when the fight actually plays out, no matter what you think about Derek Lewis, fighters change when they feel his power. And that's something that Jailton Almeida is going to have to prove himself against on Saturday, because Derek Lewis has really nothing to lose here. He's going into Brazil. He's got a new contract. He's making a bunch of money. He's coming off a win. And like I said, he doesn't have much to lose. So he's going to come out firing. And like I said, his power changes fighters. You can never underestimate the unpredictability of Derek Lewis and his ability to also pull off an upset. But Almeida has just shown fundamentals in his grappling that most heavyweights are not going to be able to stop or even really react to. So I expect Almeida to go out there, land some good shots, take down Derek Lewis, and get a submission win in the first or second round to really have his breakout moment in front of his hometown crowd.